The Toronto Blue Jays aren't participating in this year's World Series, but it changes everything for how we're going to view the Soto sweepstakes in the upcoming offseason. How he performs could dictate whether that contract starts with a five, six, or even a seven, depending on how well he plays. So we'll break that down and much more on this episode of Jays Digest. Welcome in, everybody, to Jays Digest. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. Nick, the World Series are set to get underway on Friday, and I mean, whether you're a Yankee fan or a Dodger fan or whoever you support in Major League Baseball, this is going to alter the landscape of Major League Baseball forever. 40% of Japan woke up at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning to watch Shohei Ohtani playing Game 5 against the San Diego Padres. I don't even want to begin to imagine the reach that this is going to have globally once the World Series actually begins. You have the two biggest markets, the Yankees against the Dodgers. It's not a David versus Goliath, it's a Goliath versus Goliath here. And Juan Soto is going to be front and center. And he's a big reason, probably the biggest reason why the Yankees are in the World Series right now. So if he can get the job done, if he can see it across the finish line and be the MVP, be the most valuable player in the World Series, I suspect that that contract is only going to grow. And that home run that he hit against the Cleveland Guardians to basically seal the fate of the Guardians, I think that earned him an extra 50 million. How much more is he going to earn himself here in this World Series remains to be seen, but I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, and the Jays obviously are one of the teams that are hopefully going to be in the sweepstakes for Juan Soto. But as as the Yankees continue to dominate, the chances, or rather the price of Juan Soto is going higher and higher, and you can see this here. So the Red Sox and Blue Jays are both dark horses for the Yankees' $500 million start. We know all this, but Peter, more and more articles are dropping about whether it's the Jays being one of the teams that wants to, go after him. We know multiple reports have come out from Bob Nightingale, John Heyman, basically just saying that the Jays are going to give an astronomical offer. That offer is going to be increased with each game that Juan Soto wins. And if the Yankees win the World Series, every single game has a much bigger impact than not only the price of Juan Soto, but making it a bit more difficult for Juan Soto to want to leave the New York Yankees. I mean, if they go out and win the World Series, you could say that, hey, he's just going to re-sign. Or you could also be like, hey, my job's done here. Time to go do it with a different team. But again, teams like the Jays, the Cubs, the Red Sox, and the Phillies are among some of the dark horses for Juan Soto. And the Jays are number two or number three, really, behind the New York Mets there. It's the price is rising, though, and it's not getting any lower.
Yeah, well, the fans might not like me for saying this, but I think he was made to be a New York Yankee, and it sucks, but he looks right at home in a Yankees uniform, and he looks like that is the perfect fit for him. He's a young guy. He's hasn't been in the major leagues for too long, but he's already been on three different teams. So it just goes to show you that okay, he's already grown accustomed to moving around. Maybe he wants to find his forever home, and maybe New York is that place. If he wins a World Series, I think it's going to be incredibly hard for the Yankees to let him go. I really do believe that, and I think it'll be incredibly hard for him to want to leave as well. So you're this is going to be an uphill battle all the way throughout for the Toronto Blue Jays or for any other team that wants to sign him. And if he loses in the World Series, I even think that gives him more incentive to come back, to run it back and try to accomplish that goal of winning a World Series with the New York Yankees. I don't know how this is going to play out. And we've mentioned it many different times, Nick. This cannot be your only goal in free agency because it's unlikely. Shohei seemed more likely than the Blue Jays getting Juan Soto. I don't know. I don't know about you. I don't know how you feel about that, but I think the Jays had a better chance of landing Shohei Ohtani as opposed to getting Juan Soto in this upcoming free agency. And you could even argue that they had no chance of getting Ohtani. Maybe they were just used as leverage. We don't know how the situation played itself out, but I think this has to be your number one priority, trying to get him to Toronto. But you got to anticipate that you're going to strike out and that it's not going to happen. So for those reasons, you need to have backup plans. You need to have a contingency plan, like an Alex Bregman, like we've touched on multiple times. Jerks Profar, who you had a video on just yesterday. So, Nick, there are a ton of options this offseason that the Blue Jays could go after. And I don't know if Juan Soto is the end all be all here, but he's definitely someone to keep an eye on. And I'm guaranteeing that all 30 teams are going to want in on him. It's not just the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Mets.
Yeah, and obviously Ohtani, we knew he was leaving the Angels, so or most likely leaving the Angels, so there was a bit more optimism surrounding the Blue Jays, but it's going to be much harder to pry away Juan Soto from the New York Yankees, given the fact that, I mean, like you mentioned, he's had a very good season there. He's bounced around teams a bunch. I'm not sure he wants to leave again. And looking at the Jays, I guess there's no cap in baseball, but their current money situation, there's obviously the luxury. The Jays have approximately 186 to 190 million dollars on the books already for 2025, and as per the slightly differing projections from a bunch of different resources, the calculations put the number a bit lower than 175. What all this means is that the Jays have a somewhat similar payroll in mind, like what Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro specifically said last time, that leaves a decent but not an outsized chunk of spending space to match the approximate figure from their payroll opening day last year. Now, I do think that if the money comes, again, they were willing to overspend for Shohei Ohtani. They were willing to offer $600+ million, but he does offer a different kind of marketing to obviously everybody globally. But at this point now, I mean, I'd be fine with the Jays. And if they don't get Juan Soto, they probably won't. The chances are lower than 10%. They need to have a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D here surrounding Alex Bregman, all these other guys that you mentioned. And even if they do somehow land Juan Soto, they can't be done there either. They still need to go after other guys. Like, this team isn't one piece away. They're at least two pieces away. Now, whether that's two really good pieces, maybe even three pieces away. So whether that's Juan Soto plus, Alex Bregman plus, it's they have a ton of work to do here.
Well, I think getting Juan Soto solves maybe three or four issues that you have on the offensive side of things. So maybe they are just one piece offensively away if it is Juan Soto. But again, it's not likely that it's going to happen. And for him to go from a division rival, the Yankees, to another division rival, that is another wrinkle that makes it less likely to happen. So, yeah, you need to have contingency plans like we've touched on here. And if you do have to go to those contingency plans, that's when you need to add three or four or five guys because you have a lot of holes. There's no clear superstar on the market aside from Juan Soto. So if you don't get him, you're going to have to get three or four really good players if you want to have any hope of competing in 2025. And the list of needs and absolutes that the Blue Jays have this offseason is pretty long, whether it's the bullpen you want to pinpoint, whether it's the offense that was pretty much a carousel this season of guys going in and out of the third base position. Like, there's a lot that needs to be done here, but Juan Soto solves a ton of your problems if you could get him. I still don't think it's likely, but I mean, I'm along for the ride, man. I'm along for the ride. Maybe I won't be as gullible this time as I was for the Shohei stuff, and hopefully, same thing for you, Nick, because we were swindled, man. We were bamboozled. I mean, gained a lot of new fans out of it. There's no doubt about that. But man, that was it was heartbreaking because we set ourselves up for failure. I don't know if I want to do that this time, and I don't even know if the Blue Jays have that good of a shot at getting him, but it's nice to dream about it for sure.
Yeah, and hopefully we have some similar sweepstakes last time. 'Cause, I mean, at the very least, it was very fun. But we're gonna keep you up to date with all of it. Again, the Yankees. It's gonna be an interesting World Series. Two of the best teams in baseball, and hopefully the Jays can be there next year. It's probably not going to happen, but maybe by some world we'll be talking about the Jays this time next year. But let us know in the comments your thoughts are on the Soto stuff. Do you think the Jays have the capability to sign him, or do you think it's going to be an Ohtani situation? V2, let us know. See you guys later.